Good morning, Acadiana, and welcome to another edition of Morning Coffee with Big Al
and Special T.
We're happy to be coming to you from Cypress Street Radio, AOC Community Media's streaming broadcast.
Look for us every day of the week. Our 8 a.m. show will start your morning off right. That's right in a good way.
Not right as in radical right. We bring you good ideas, good pastimes, and who knows what else.
With
a progressive flair.
Our 7 p.m. stream is a great backdrop for some decaf and peace of mind. So either way, get whatever it is that you like to drink when you're watching our show. And I suggest that you get something to drink, especially now. Sit back and enjoy the show.
Very good.
Now, our music is gone. And I just want to say that I am doing this to be a good example for all of our listeners. And if this is a podcast, I want you to see that you should mask up when you're in company.
Yeah.
And actually, it's steaming up my glasses a bit.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's hard for me to tell. I mean, I guess this is kind of a different setup than we normally have, as some people may be, they may be getting that from the slight change.
Yeah, because they can see your kitchen, Al.
What's that?
They can see your kitchen.
See my what?
Your kitchen.
Oh, yeah, that's my kitchen, just in case anybody happens to be watching.
I'm trying to figure out what is all that stuff up there on your counter.
Well, let's see. Oh, I see. Is that my... I don't know. I'm looking at it backwards here. I can't... Yeah, I'm looking at one thing there, and I'm not even really sure what that is. But
okay,
I thought it was my coffee maker at one time, but I don't think so.
Well, I got my coffee, and here's my... I need a refresher, but here's my coffee cup, everybody. You see it's a KRVS coffee cup because we believe in Radio Acadiana, Radio Acadie, and AOC Community Media.
Yes.
Absolutely. I got one of their coffee cups, too, I think, or at least a tumbler.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. So, Al, let's talk about what people are doing these days.
Well, probably a lot of people are either hunkered down in their house or out buying a lot of toilet paper.
Well, I don't know about that. I've seen some protesters who may, be off the radar after a while. We give them 14 days from the date of protest and see how our coronavirus frequency spikes up.
Well, yeah, I've seen some of the protest groups, and I think I've also seen some that say Darwin approves.
So you're gonna have to explain that to me. That went over my head.
Charles Darwin.
Darwin. Okay.
Yeah. The what is it? Survival of the fittest, or natural selection, or whatever. But
well, strong enough they'll come out of it alive.
Well, yeah, I guess I think a lot of people. I mean, I don't know what it is for sure, but the idea. I mean, people have probably heard flatten the curve and all that stuff. I mean, the idea is not to overwhelm our healthcare capabilities, which
because we're not ready. Because we're not ready.
Well, I mean, we don't have the system in place.
Exactly.
We don't have even some of the more advanced countries that are doing really well with this, like Germany, for instance. I was watching a video from Angela Merkel, and, they're trying to, they're actually doing a fairly good job of it, apparently, but they're getting people to, the social distance thing, they're getting people to, avoid contact to some degree because they don't want to overwhelm their system.
Right.
And I think they're one of the statistics is like how many beds per capita, how many hospital beds per capita that a system has. And, I'd have to look it up, and I'm not looking at it right now, but I think it was Germany that was, they had some, it was in the article I was reading. I think it was Germany. It could have been another one.
They were well organized as far as what their capabilities were to do it as effectively as possible, unlike the United States.
Well, it's like if you start off with 8 beds per capita, like Germany, and I think it's Germany, it could be another country, and we're looking at maybe a little over 2 beds per capita. So we don't have the reserve in case of some, widespread emergency or pandemic or whatever.
Well, and that back in the previous administration, they were working on that. Of course, we got a mouthpiece that distorts everything, so we don't know what we had because there's too many goods that have come out of that thing that you don't know what to believe.
Well, at the and I think it was the H1N1, the SARS H1N1 thing, or it's been a few of them, but it was like
and Ebola.
Well, it could have been, but it was like in 2009 or 2010 or something like that. They had quite a supply of personal protective equipment, including masks and gowns and all that stuff. And then that depleted it a fair amount, and it was not replenished. And of course, it's Congress, that has to appropriate the money.
And we just got our Democratic majority back recently.
Well, but see, this was back, I think, in 2010 when when we had the Republicans, took over the Congress. This was in the middle of the recovery from the the recession. The Great Recession.
Yeah.
But it's been, I'd have to say, being generous, I'd have to say it's been mismanaged.
Uh-huh.
And plus there was last year, people talk about January of this year and all that, maybe February, but if you go back to last year, there was a heads up on it at that time, from what I understand. And I don't know if it's in the NIH or the CDC, the National Institutes of Health, or the Center for Disease Control, or in one of the government agency. There's been talk of what to do in a pandemic situation for quite some time, because it is something that could happen. And it's something that, you need to be prepared for instead of scrambling all of a sudden, when it happens. And so that has not been managed well over the past few years.
Okay. Well, 2016 was when we had the election. And
what's that now?
2016 was our last election, and this was the thing from everybody's mind. And then we had a flip of the House majority in 2018. And this was 1 year. 2018 was the election. So 2019 is the first year that the Democratic Congress has been in there. And yes, they spent a lot of time trying to rein in the wild abuses of power, I guess, or stretching of the rules, stretching of almost all the rules. Like even during the campaign time, the rules were stretched by.
Well, there's been a lot of things going on that were not really serving the people, in my estimation. To me, that's what they're up there. They're public servants.
And supposed to be, but
right. That's
let's make ourselves rich.
Well, that and with the campaign contributions from the corporations and the PACs and the dark money. I mean, there's a lot of.
And Georgie put a bunch of that stuff in place. So
what's that now?
George Bush put a lot of that in place, the PACs and things.
Well, it's been deteriorating since the 60s and the 70s. I mean, if you look at the.
When I was in first grade, I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to politics.
Yeah.
I did know who the president was.
Well,
we're talking Kennedy era now.
What's that now?
Kennedy era was in the 60s. I was in fourth grade, 1964. That's 4-5 was when he got assassinated.
Well, it's if you look at, there was a specific. Well, I mean, I'm sure you've heard of the Southern strategy.
Where when everybody was communist?
Well, no, this was in conjunction with the civil rights thing.
Okay. Well,
and you also had a specifically directed, and I can't think of the guy's name, but it was to get. It was to get Republicans elected in all the, city councils, school boards. I mean, just
that's been going on for a while.
Right, it has. That's what I'm saying. Back to at least the 70s, and this was a specific plan that. And I wish I could think of the guy's name. I mean, I don't.
You need to do your research before we start our show.
Well, I didn't know we were even going to talk about this, but
Let's talk about something else.
I would recognize the guy if I came across it, but I don't have it right now. But that is, now, as far as either party, both of them are pretty well corrupted, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I tend to lean left. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, it's probably right on the screen, but I did lean left. Okay, y'all. Well, let's talk about something current and things that are relevant. So I hope that y'all didn't leave too fast because there's something really important if you're living in Louisiana to let you know, and that is that our primary voting date has been pushed back again. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. I knew it had been pushed back once, but I didn't know what the latest was.
It's June the 20th, but now it's July the 11th. Uh-oh, in your elbow, Al.
Okay.
You gotta be a good example here. You're visual.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, in the process of trying to get the emergency plan for voting set up, they did push back the voting date for the primary again from June the 20th to July the 11th. Now, what's odd, is that you're supposed to have early voting You're supposed to have early voting that stops 7 days out from the real vote, where you go to the ballot. Early voting will begin June 26th. But guess what the date is where it's supposed to end? July the 4th. So I don't know if they're going to have the polls open July the 4th, or we're going to have 2 days where we can't vote, because it always is. They don't do it on Sundays, which maybe that's what they need to do, is open the polls where people can do it on Sunday. But really what we want them to do is send out a mail ballot for everybody. Well,
yeah, that's, and I've heard this. Some guy from Texas was talking about security issues with the mail. And, it's not like they've been doing it in Washington and Oregon for I don't know how long and hadn't had any problems. And have a good turnout. And, but the thing is, there are people that don't want to see that many people voting, because if they do, then they won't win.
No, they won't win anyway, except to make voting as hard as possible. And it has to do with voter suppression.
Exactly.
Which was rampant in Georgia for one of the last elections, where a lady, her voters were purged. Her voters were purged. I just been so just blown away by this. So here we are, okay, it's past the date when we were originally supposed to have our primary. So Al, can you get your phone out?
What's that?
Can you get your phone out? Can you show us the screen for Go Vote on your phone?
Oh yeah, let me see. Well, let me see here. Yeah, I can pull that up.
Because really, this is someplace that y'all need to go and look and, assure yourself that you're on the rolls. Because now we got more time and now we can show you what to do to make sure that you're there. And Al's an expert at this.
Let's see
Go
here.
Vote all the time. He's always talking Go Vote. He's the GEAUX person.
Can you see that? Or no,
not at all. That looks really bad. Now, when you turn it a little bit, it doesn't have the glare so bad.
Well, let me see if I can find what it looks like better, because this is. I'm trying to find the one that has the big Go Vote on it, but
the big Go Vote, yeah.
But it automatically wants to go to.
But it's GEAUXVOTE altogether.com or org or gov.
Let me see here.
Okay, Al. We're having a little tech delay here.
Oh, okay, here we go. How about this?
Turn it to the side a little bit so it's not straight on, like this way.
Okay, tell me how you
turn it like toward the left or the right, one or the other, like swivel.
Okay, I'm doing that slowly.
A little more.
Okay.
More. I mean, you can at least see the colors and the bands. Isn't it supposed to have the state of Louisiana on it?
Well, it's got the state of Louisiana, but I mean, I don't know.
Oh, I see it now. We saw it before you turned it. When you do it straight up, it looks like a white screen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I have it too close. How about now? Is this any better?
That's better. Yeah,
okay.
That's a lot better.
Okay.
So y'all see that? It got the little thing of Louisiana there and those 3 bands. What do those 3 bands say, Al?
What's that?
What do the bands say? The blue lines.
It says search by voter, search by address, and election results.
Okay, well that's really cool. Now what is it? What is the thing? It's govote.what?
.com.
.com.
Yeah.
So do that. GEAUX. Do you need my mouth? Here, I'll take my coronavirus mask. GEAUX vote altogether.com.
Yeah, that sounds a lot better when you have your mask off, Teresa, and seeing as how you're all by yourself. I mean, you. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I think.
Okay, I'll take this off.
Since you're by yourself, I think.
How about that?
Yeah.
I'm ready for Mardi Gras.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a smooth move. Still having Mardi Gras.
Yeah. Well, they say that Mardi Gras is the cause of the coronavirus in New Orleans. If everybody in New Orleans, they have the hot spot.
Oh yeah.
So if you wore this and your coronavirus mask, we wouldn't be suffering like we are. So
yeah, that was. Yeah, I'm not sure there was definitely, they shouldn't have had that, but I mean, the whole thing has been delayed too much.
Okay, but you know what?
What's that?
Louisiana was not the one who started Mardi Gras. It was started in France. Well, not centuries ago. Yeah, centuries ago. It's
been a while.
Had no way to stop Mardi Gras, and I'll tell you what, they had Mardi Gras in Washington, D.C., so what's their big deal? They brought all those people from Louisiana up there to have a big party, Mardi Gras, and then some people are saying, oh, well, you shouldn't have had Mardi Gras. Well, I guarantee you, if we hadn't, and we had no coronavirus, people would still be pissed off at John Bell for stopping.
Well, that's probably true. Teresa, I'm going to be right back. So just carry on in the meeting. Well, like I say, I'm going to take a short break, but you can keep talking about the.
Coffee cup and get me some coffee while you're at it, please.
Well, hang on. Well, yeah, I guess, I don't know if this would be normally our music time or something like that, but
probably close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll be back in a couple of minutes, but just
I'll try and play my my video that I put on Morning Coffee at Cypress Street Radio.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can do that. Oh, look, I see all sorts of really cool people here. So I'm gonna try this, and you can go and take a break, and I'm gonna see if I can present now my video about making sure that we making sure that we take care of our was I meaning to do my screen? Okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna play this video for y'all. I think it's so funny.
Okay, well, I'll be right back.
Okay, bye. All right. Where did it go? Okay, I hate to do this to y'all, but okay. I'm going to get onto this is the site that we want y'all all to go visit on Facebook. It's called Morning Coffee on Cypress Street Radio. It's where we do some of our cool stuff. Okay. And I'm going to try to make it go higher up so you can see. Oh, come on. I'm going to make it a big screen. I'm going to make a big screen where you can see everything.
It's this mask, y'all. I can't breathe. Y'all not like it? Okay, mask off.
If you haven't seen this yet, it's hilarious.
If anybody talk you off the squad.
Ladies, they're shutting the school down. We got to exit the building.
Can we please just have 5 more minutes?
5 minutes.
You got 3.
Okay, remember, it's out to... We're not even going to do that one. Because if she mess up again, I'm going to kill her. And that's all Corona.
All Corona.
Let's just do the quarantine cheer. No mask, no excuses. 6, 7, 8. QUARANTINE quarantine said, won't you back up 6 feet? Give me that quarantine. QUARANTINE quarantine said, won't you back up 6 feet? Give me that quarantine.
Board in the house and I'm in the house good. Board in the house and I'm in the house good.
Why don't you show the show? You wanna show the show?
Beautiful, let's go.
Y'all don't forget we practice it also tomorrow at 3.
All right. Okay, that was your Corona cheer for the day. Let me turn on that off. Okay, turn that muted off. Okay. All right. Are we back on?
Oh, I think we're on, but
I see you.
Yeah.
So everything's good now? We can talk more about all the good stuff going on here.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I think we can do that.
All right, so like I said, STAYHOME, stay at home, help not make people sick, and they indicate that people who are older, 65 and older, and who have pre-existing conditions are most susceptible for this. But I saw on a video where some little kid that's like 7 years old has it.
I hadn't seen that, but
went to a hospital on the 30th of March, and you watch that and it just breaks your heart. I mean, he's having trouble breathing. They got the tubes in his nose. His mom is a doctor, and she knew if she brought him in, they went to a room together. She knew if she left the room, she wouldn't be able to come back. So she's staying there with her child. But it's heartbreaking. I mean, it's a cute little thing, but you can tell the fever's high too because he's, I don't know. Have you ever seen your kid when they have fever and they talk gibberish? You don't know what they're talking about?
What's that now? You were fading out a little bit.
When kids have high fever.
Oh, yeah, okay.
High fever, they sometimes like hallucinate or something.
Well, I've seen a lot of. Yeah, that's somebody sending me a message. But I've seen the.
I muted my phone.
Yeah, I guess I could do that. This, and it's to me it's hard to sort through the information and find out what's true and what's just hype. But
this isn't hype. It's there.
But it seems to be. I mean, this virus seems to create issues with oxygen. The hemoglobin and oxygen carrying capabilities, and that's what I've been able to get out of it so far. As far as what I've read, it does something. It either ties up or causes another problem with the hemoglobin, where your blood cells can't carry as much oxygen around.
When I saw videos about this before it was in the United States, there were X-ray kind of pictures that looked at the images of the lungs.
Yeah,
it looked like the lungs were being compromised. I mean, where it looked like the lungs were being eaten up by whatever this virus was. Now, I don't know if that was something that somebody made
up. I don't know. I hadn't seen those, but
it came from Asia.
Well, there's so much hype and hysteria and, I'm not saying everybody, but some people are just trying to scare people.
Evil Democrats, not these evil Democrats. Oh my gosh. Look at this.
You have...
Americans stand together, we can and we'll prevail. We'll build this country, not the evil Democrats.
Yeah, I saw something about that. I mean...
oh my Lord. That's at Breitbart, of course.
It's what?
Why not in there, I don't know. Breitbart? Whatever.
Oh, yeah, Breitbart. Yeah, well, if it comes from Breitbart, you can depend on it to be a certain persuasion.
Yeah. Wow. I don't like that. Anyhow, so I think that I got an interesting personal report today that there's been sort of a shutdown on communications from North Korea.
Oh, yeah, I've seen some some stuff talking about Kim Jong-un and some,
yes.
Which who knows if that's true or not, But
well, I don't know. I got this out of Asia, and
yeah,
my reporter out there on the ground. There
could be something to it.
That there's a possibility that he went into the hospital, and there is a possibility. This is not for sure, but there's a possibility that he has coronavirus.
Well, I had heard something to the effect that it was a cardiac issue, but
maybe they say that,
Well, I mean, it
would be. It could be.
Well, yeah, I guess it's not likely. I mean, they're probably not. As far as what's happening in North Korea, that's kind of it'd be hard to tell what's true.
There's not real, dependable.
No, we don't have too many
information coming from North Korea.
Yeah, there's not too many reliable news sources, I think, that come out of there.
If he dies, we may not even know it, you know?
Well, I mean, that's, I don't know what they do, you know, if that happened, but
I wouldn't laugh about it even so.
well, no, I'm just laughing about our dear leader.
Oh.
And what would his reaction be? But
who knows? He said he was a beautiful person.
Yeah.
I really liked him. He was a beautiful person. Maybe he'll go to the funeral. I don't know.
Well, I guess it would also depend if he's looked into his eyes and seen his soul too. But
I don't know, Al. It's really weird.
Well, we definitely have had some real winners.
Yeah. Okay, so most of our meetings and things that people are doing now are tying up the internet wave of communications. We are actually having a DPEC meeting tonight.
Oh, yeah?
You know, it's an open meeting if you can figure out how to get in on the computer and stuff. But anybody that wants to, we can give them the code if they write to us and say they want to. You can write to Lafayette DPEC at AOL.com and say, I'd really like to sit in on the meeting.
Yeah.
And we'll get you in, you know. What they are doing is they are going to be inviting candidates for the primary to do a video about who they are and what they want to accomplish.
Yeah.
What they think is important for their area. Especially, you know, there's not that many races. I think all the I know that the big one for DPEC is the at-large position, and it's a ranked vote. They have 7 people who are running and 5 positions that will be open. And I think it's okay for me to say here that I have and plan and have been saying to people, I would rather you vote for Fernando Perez than me, because I've been working there for a while and I have a full plate for the next 2 years. And I think that it would be good to have this other guy. He's a radio host, like us. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Only he speaks in Spanish on public radio here in Lafayette.
Which radio? What station?
It's KRVS. He has a show called Espacio Hispanico, and he has 2 shows. He has 2 shows that are in Spanish, and he talks in Spanish on his show. And he has good music, Spanish music from Cuba and, you know, the islands and everything. Really good.
Yeah?
Yeah. So one of the shows is on Sunday, and I can't remember when the other one is. Probably late at night. They got a Korean show on KRVS too, late at night on Monday.
Oh, yeah?
It's called K-pop radio or something.
K-pop?
Yeah, K-pop. And the guy's name, his surname is Kim. And he's got like as a child or something saying one of his promotions is about the K-pop radio. So anyway, it's a lot better. They had the Japanese show right before that, Japanese jukebox. Oh my Lord. And you know, the Koreans and the Japanese don't get along. You know, the Japanese invaded Korea during their big push for supremacy and empire expansion.
Yeah.
And they took over everything. They made the women sew the army socks. They ate all the rice and gave the Korean holes to eat. It was really bad. So anyway.
Yeah, there was definitely a period of expansion over there at, I guess, in the 30s mainly.
Absolutely, that carried on over into the World War II, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting how all that, the dynamics play out. I mean, all over the world. And, to me, it's just kind of the war game is kind of a stupid game. I mean, it doesn't, I don't see the real fun in it,
And with the virus that we're having, I've learned more about World War I than I've ever learned before, because a big factor in World War I had to do with the Spanish flu. And that's the one that happened in the 1918 or whatever, right around that time.
1918, yeah.
And what happened was, they had the flu actually in the battlefield, killing a lot of people, making them really sick. But then there was like a second wave that happened, and that's why they're worried about this second wave for this coronavirus.
Yeah,
It's been, like 110 years.
Well.
Oh, no, almost 112 years.
Yeah, well, 102 if I were counting.
Okay, you're right. My
But I was reading something, and I found this to be interesting, about the bubonic plague in San Francisco around 1900.
Okay.
And now this is, the Black Death, the like from the 1400s, whatever. And apparently it cropped up in San Francisco in, I think it was about 1900. And I as far as the story goes, I don't recall if it was the mayor of San Francisco or the governor of California, but they tried to suppress the information.
Oh, okay.
Which, it brings to mind a parallel with the, the thing we have going on now with the coronavirus.
Wonderful.
Well, and what happened? I mean, it's they finally, it started getting out of hand, and they got some, medical people or scientists. I mean, it's an interesting story, and they started getting the word out to, and maybe it was the mayor that was trying to suppress it, and this guy got it to the government or to the governor, and he put, took some appropriate action. And they were able to contain it and reduce it and all that stuff. But, it's like the coronavirus, this pandemic we have now. I mean, that's been talked about for quite some time because, some people realize that there is a possibility of something like this happening. And it depends on the characteristics of whatever virus it might be. I mean, how contagious it is, how fatal it is, what symptoms it causes, et cetera, et cetera. But, it's still something that as a country, if not as a planet, we need to be prepared for, because it's, a virus can be pretty rough, I mean, some of the stuff like, the plague or the Spanish flu, which actually I think it started, I'm trying to think where in the United States it started. I don't know. I forgot the story behind why they call it the Spanish flu, but I thought that was kind of funny too.
I think in the United States it came to New York and New Jersey and that area.
Well, I was thinking Pennsylvania or maybe, I forgot the details, but it's still. The thing about
Pennsylvania was that their leadership did kind of like what our president's doing, and started to have, not pay any attention to it, tell everybody to get out and work, and they did. And Pennsylvania got hit really hard, whereas the states that took it seriously and had people, sequester themselves, they did not have as bad an outbreak as Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania really screwed up.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are methods to, mitigate this to varying degrees, but I mean, it's like you have to consider, what's going on and what needs to be done. Like what are the political, the economic thing is another aspect, obviously, but that's, obviously our economic system is not set up really to handle this because of it's like the mask. It wasn't profitable to replenish these mask supplies, from 2010 or probably 2010 would be probably a pretty good year, but, because the people didn't want to, it's like if you can't make a profit on it, they don't want to do it.
Trouble getting people to wear them,
Well, but if you think back to February, it's like, a mask is not going to really do you any good anyway. Remember when they were saying that?
Yeah.
Probably because they didn't have the mask. So they say, don't worry about it. It's like, seat belts, don't worry about them. They're not that great anyway, But
I remember that. There was a lot of pushback on that. And how many lives have been saved by seat belts?
Oh, yeah. But, that was kind of, remember, when Nader came out with that, I think he was the one that really pushed it. It's like all the car companies are saying, we'll go broke if we have to put seat belts in cars. Give me a break.
Yeah, really.
That's the problem with the corporate influence on our government, at the federal level.
But speaking of things that people don't want to talk about, they did like this, there was this study done on the Gulf of Mexico and the fish there, and they tested 2,000 fish.
Yeah.
Every one of them had impact from oil still in their systems.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know.
I don't eat that. I made people mad, because you have to support the fish people here and fishermen, but I'm sorry, I won't eat it.
Well, it's like the way that they changed the labeling on shrimp. It used to be like 10 to 14s or 20 to 30s and stuff like that, and now you have some that are 10 W40s and some that are 20 W50s.
You're so funny.
Well, we need to take care of the planet, and that's the, I remember with, the whole oil spill, and, that's the same thing, the same company had done almost the exact same thing in Kazakhstan, as far as...
Not only that, other places too. It's just... And then there was Exxon also, with the Valdez. That was like a different situation, but it ended up with a lot of the same impact. Those people there were still struggling with exposure issues when the spill was going on in Louisiana.
Well, the thing is, you're dealing with something that's fairly dangerous inherently. And, the oil, it's got to be contained and controlled and all that. And when you're talking about drilling offshore at those depths, and you're talking about just tremendous pressures. Did you go to that, did you see that petroleum engineer that did the little presentation at the library? Did you go to that?
Yes.
Yeah, that it's really interesting, all the sequence of events that caused that to happen. Mm-hmm. But it's like too many people dropped the ball in too many critical time periods.
Well, it's like coronavirus too. There's been a lot of ball dropping along.
Oh yeah. It's like.
Especially in the States, and the model that we should be following is, and as some, like the governors of different states are saying, is that we need to follow the model that are by those countries which have had the best, results, where they're being able to reopen just now. Different.
Oh yeah.
But they still have the schools where the kids are home and the And the instructors come in and do distance learning at the sites, some of them.
Oh, really?
Go in. The kids are at home doing school, because the kids are the spreaders. I mean, just think about it.
Say it again. The kids are what now?
Are part of this. I mean, they're spreaders of diseases and all sorts of sicknesses. I mean, the teachers are exposed to all sorts of things, even when it's not a pandemic. I mean, they come in with colds and all sorts of things.
Oh, yeah.
Chicken pox and if they're not vaccinated, measles,
Well, there's,
Oh my gosh, yeah. I saw this video, this big warning video that this preacher guy was doing, talking about that this is not a virus at all, that this is G5 radiation poisoning that we're all suffering from. And our bodies are trying to, get the stuff out, and that's why we're having the reactions we are. It's radioactive sickness, and that we're going to all be told to get a vaccination. They're going to put a chip in us so they can tell where we are and see what our brains are thinking, and make sure that we don't, that we're not a threat to the government. Otherwise they're going to quarantine us forever.
Oh yeah, I mean they come up with.
Oh my God.
I mean, I was seeing the stuff about, there's always the usual suspects. I mean, you have Soros. He's always bad. He's always behind anything that one group doesn't like. And of course, Bill Gates, I think he's the one that came up with, or, he's the one that they're saying is the big vaccination guy, and they want to put some kind of chip in you when they vaccinate you, that you won't even know about,
I mentioned him, but you know what? Bill and Melinda Gates are big funders for the polio vaccine. They've done so much to help with that. And when they say something bad about him, I'm like, you guys, you just don't know.
Well, there's always, I think really, it's like the YouTube thing, and you have people that just want to come up with anything they think is going to get people to watch their video, so they get the advertising credit for it. And
is it true that you can get money for people for enough hits on your shows?
I think so. I mean, I'm not, I've never really looked into it, but
we need to get
some of the ones.
Maybe we'll get. No, we can't get paid. We're volunteers, y'all. You don't send us any money. We'll get in trouble if we get money from y'all. We don't want money. We're doing this from the goodness of our hearts because we love our community.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. We love our readers and our watchers and our Facebook followers.
Yeah.
You can watch that video with them really beautiful cheerleaders, too. I mean, don't miss that. I've never seen such voluptuous cheerleaders.
Oh, yeah?
Did you see them?
I don't.
They're guys.
The what now?
Cheerleaders are guys.
Okay, I'm not quite catching that.
The cheerleaders are men dressed up in cheerleader outfits.
Okay.
Big black guys. With little girl voices. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just
not.
Yeah, I'm just not. It's not the fidelity is not coming through real well to me.
Oh, it's just that like the audio?
Yeah, well, now see, I heard that. It's like the audio, but I mean, some of the I don't know if it's just on my end or how it's recording or what.
I mean, because I see you fine, so why would I see you fine and you don't see me fine? Is my camera bad?
Well, it could be. I mean, it could be whatever internet service you're using and whatever internet service I'm using.
Google Chrome.
Well, yeah, no, but I'm talking about your service provider. If it's
LUS Fiber.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm not on LUS Fiber. I'm on Cox, so it could be something is slowing down my reception, or I don't know about my transmission. You say my transmission is coming through pretty good, huh?
Absolutely. I can see you touching your face, all like you're not supposed to.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Watch out for that. You need a mask. Let me make you one of these. They're really good.
What's that now?
I can make you one of these. I got some cut out.
Oh, well, yeah. No, see, when you put that mask on, it definitely.
Cool mask you got. You don't
well, when you put that mask on, it definitely degrades your audio.
Oh. Okay.
No, it does. I mean, I'm serious.
Or like this.
Yeah, when you have it on, it makes it degrades your audio. But
okay. I just have to talk louder.
Well, I think it's actually
makes my glasses steam up.
Well, it probably changes the waveform a little bit, you know, and
go out through those spaces, so it's going backwards instead.
Well, it muffles it. You know, I think it probably muffles it some too.
Just think if I had one of those NV11 masks that would do like this, so they can't hear anything I say.
That's like, I mean, when the people would come in to rob the bank with their little face mask on, and the teller would say, "What was that? I can't quite hear you." I mean,
well, they had something about that. They had a deal where it used to be against the rules for you to be able to go in a certain place with masks because they thought you would be robbers, but now they want you to come in with masks.
Was that like for banks, or is that?
Yeah, but they want masks now.
Yeah. That thought has crossed my mind too, because I've had people give me a hard time when I come in wearing my helmet or something like that. When I'm on a motorcycle.
Face. That's not good. I have a motorcycle helmet. I have so many things. It's not mine. It's Jennifer's.
Oh, really?
It was a little kid motorcycle helmet, so she could ride a motorcycle with her uncle and not.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because he's a big Harley guy. So anyway, I'm trying to move. I'm going to have to take all my stuff out of my house. I was hoping that I would have people go in my house and just buy stuff right there and take it home, but with this pandemic thing, it's really screwed up my plan.
Yeah, I'm sure it's changed a lot of plans for a lot of people.
And they had a show on last night on the Baton Rouge station where they had an attorney talking, and people were asking about getting their wills done and how do they get it notarized with the distancing and everything else. And some states have remote notarization and witnessing.
I hadn't heard about that.
That's not here yet, but places up north where they've had their state legislators, put these bills ahead that have been passed. So, okay, all right. We need to do our music now, I think.
The what now?
The music. We're going to play our goodbye music, everybody.
Yeah, I guess it's getting about that time. And
so, we hope you enjoyed all of our general conversations about, what to do and what's going on. I don't know if our folks at AOC heard that our elections are now going to be July 11th. They moved it back. Again. They might move it back again.
Don't forget, come see us on Facebook, on Morning Coffee on Facebook. You can see our page there.
Like the street radio. Look, you can watch the beautiful cheerleaders. And have a good day. Y'all stay safe. Wear your mask. I'm going to put mine on so I can drive all down the don't want to have any problem. Okay, y'all. Peace. Peace. This is what you do in Europe. Put your hand up. Bye. Let's say goodbye.
Okay.
Stage, doing ballet.
Hasta la vista.
Thank you.
Auf Wiedersehen.
I'm still on my glasses. I can't see.
Try again.
I can't hear you, Al. Your audio is not so good. You need to come to LUS Fiber. Okay. Y'all take care.
Okay.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye. Don't go to any more wrong ways. It can be dangerous. I think we're done.